Hi, welcome to the Week 7 edition of the Daily Record High School Football Insider. I'm Aaron Dorksen along with Mike Plant. Mike, thanks for joining me again.
Thanks for having me back for another week, Aaron.
Exciting times in high school football. The leaves are starting to turn colors, and that means all the games get bigger now, Mike. Last week in Week 6, I'll mention 3 of the scores that stood out to me for some teams that are in the lead in their leagues. Triway defeated CVCA 38-21. I covered that game. Senior wide receiver Kyle Kearney, 6'5", caught a school record 15 passes. He's definitely on line to having an all-Ohio caliber season. He also grabbed an interception. Sophomore Parker Carmichael continues to really throw the ball well. And Triway right now just solidified its stance as probably the favorite in the pack. We'll talk more about them coming up. Then Norwayne defeated Chippewa 56-7. Their junior quarterback Joe Dreyer set a school record 348 passing yards, and Northwestern remained in a three-way tie for first in the WCAL as Tyler Smith had 4 second-half touchdowns in a 27-13 win over Smithville. Mike.
In the Ohio Cardinal Conference, West Holmes continued to roll undefeated as they went over to Orrville and shut out the Red Riders 4-1-0. Offense again, another big rushing game. The defense dominated, holding Orrville just over 100 yards of total offense. And they finished the game off with a Brady Arnold 65-yard punt return for a touchdown, giving the Knights their best start since 1999. Continuing in the OCC, Worcester looked like in the first half, Aaron, they were in another shootout, leading Clear Fork 27-24 at the half. And then Worcester finally got its defense to step up in the second half as they shut out the Colts in the second half, continued to roll offensively, scoring 27 points of their own. James Preston, the senior wide receiver for the Generals, had a huge game. He had 2 touchdown catches, an 80-yard rushing touchdown, and he capped it off by returning a kickoff 87 yards for another touchdown. And finally, you touched on Chippewa a little bit in their game with Norwayne. They suffered a big loss, and we want to send our prayers out to the young man. Stoney Epling, we've talked about on the show here before. Chippewa is probably their best all-around player, wide receiver, strong safety. Broke his neck in that game against the Bobcats. And I know the Chips have struggled. They haven't won a game since 2009, but something like that kind of puts things in perspective, I think, a little bit more.
Yeah, we'll find out more about the neck injury. He does have movement and that type of thing, but still a serious thing. Well, that's a quick look at last week's games, and we'll be back with more of the Daily Record High School Football Insider. Welcome back to the Daily Record High School Football Insider. Northwestern, one of the most improved teams, not only in the area but probably in the state. They were only 3-7 last year, Mike. They're 5-1, 3-0 in the WCAL, and that's the same record that Hillsdale has, which is also they've been up near the leaders the last several years. Huskies travel over to Hillsdale Friday for a huge game. I had the chance to talk to head coach Mike Toot and senior lineman Walker Kloss.
It's really exciting to be in a big game like this late in the year. We've had a couple years where we were 500 or a little bit below, and so it's exciting for the community, and it's definitely exciting for our kids as we take on a really good Hillsdale team that's had a lot of success the last 3 or 4 years, and looking forward to Friday night and having a big game over at Hillsdale.
We've worked hard all summer to get in a game like this, Week 7. It's going to be a really fun game. We're working hard, execution, running our feet and everything.
Welcome back to the Daily Records High School Football Insider. We've gotten to this Week 7 this Friday, and we've come up, Aaron, finally on our first really big Wayne County Athletic League game.
Yeah, the league's played out kind of like we thought it would, where it was a backloaded schedule. Smithville maybe could play itself into the race, but they've taken a couple tough losses. So this is the first game that's really going to separate some things when Northwestern visits Hillsdale. One of the biggest things I'm interested to see is Northwestern has a pretty small offensive line. I actually have a feature about them in the paper today. They go 200, 170, 160, 210, 230, so they average about 190 a man. Head coach Mike Toot said they're all about his size, which is not very good. Yeah. So, but they've been doing their job. They're not asked to power you off the line. They're just asked to, a lot of times, zone block and make space or creases, give time for the really talented quarterback, Malachi Noletti. Real dual threat. He has 980 yards passing, 435 rushing, 17 combined touchdowns. And Tyler Smith has been an outstanding running back, over 700 yards rushing, 13 touchdowns. Hillsdale, I don't know how they do it. They have another big offensive line. One of their standouts is 255-pound Brooks Switzer, and they have some other big bodies up there, and they try to power you. Corbin Major has 763 yards rushing, 10 touchdowns. Kevin Klein, 328 yards, 4 touchdowns. The quarterback, Dylan Strine, really good at play faking and then either running or passing. Some people might think Hillsdale is just a grinded out power team though, but head coach Mike Toot of Northwestern thinks they can score real quickly as well. So Northwestern, the biggest thing I think, Mike, is they have to limit the turnovers. They had 3 in this game last year, and they were down 21-0 just based on their turnovers.
There's another big game, Aaron, in the Ohio Cardinal Conference. And this is the 10th year of the OCC. There's only been 2 teams never to win a football title. And they'll meet Friday night in Millersburg, both as the lone unbeaten teams at 3-0 in the OCC, when the Mansfield Senior Tigers come into Knight Stadium to take on the 6-0 and second-ranked in Division III in the state, West Holmes Knights. It's been no secret, Aaron, about West Holmes' key to their success. It's been the ground and pound offense, Lane Perrone primarily running behind a big offensive line. And it's interesting that you talked about Northwestern size on their line. Talking to Kevin Maltrich, West Holmes' coach, Mansfield Senior is not as big as West Holmes. They're a lot quicker, he says, and he says that will be the biggest thing for his big line, is to handle their quickness and try to take good angles and do things like that, make sure they get them blocked. Seniors had, as West Holmes is off to their best start in over a decade, Seniors got its best team since 2002, off to its best start since then. Quarterback Jalen Reese, it seems like he's been around forever. He's the quarterback, throwing for 1,100 yards passing. They've also got probably the most unique athlete in the OCC, Keon Johnson, a little 5'6" senior, playing football for the first time since he was a freshman. This kid, Aaron, is an All-Ohio point guard in basketball for the great Mansfield Senior basketball teams, and actually is a Division I recruit. He has already accepted a scholarship to Winthrop. Talking to someone over in the Mansfield area, they said he might be better in football. He's got 32 catches for over 400 yards this season, and I know Coach Maltrich is really putting an emphasis on keeping Keon Johnson under control. They also have a running back that's got close to 400 yards. Defensively, talked about their quickness. Antonio Sandifer is a defensive end. He's got 19 tackles for loss. And last week, Mansfield Senior was able to hold Ashland and their explosive offense to just 15 points, their lowest total of the year, as they have the speed outside to kind of handle receivers one-on-one. But the big thing is going to be, is Mansfield Senior able to stand up and slow down West Holmes on one of their patented ground control drives, which hopefully Kevin Maltrich wants to keep Mansfield Senior's explosive offense on the sidelines, which is the place where they cannot hurt them.
That should be a great game to watch, that West Holmes Mansfield Senior. I'm going to run down the rest of the area games, Mike. Chippewa goes to Waynedale. Both teams looking for their first win. It's been a really unusually tough year for Waynedale. Norwayne goes to Dalton. The Cats have pretty much been naming their own score. They're going to try to go to 7-0. Rittman goes to Smithville. In the OCC, Lexington's at Worcester, Orville's at Ashland. Triway's going to try to keep in the pack lead when they go to Indian Valley, where they're going to have a really tough running back that they try to stop. Manchester, which Triway plays next week, a lot of people think that could ultimately decide the league title. Manchester's at Tuslaw, and Centerburg's at Loudonville, and Cloverleaf goes to Copley.
And as usual, Aaron, we'll be out. I'll be down in Millersburg for that big OCC clash. I know you'll be out at Hillsdale for the big one in the Wayne County Athletic League. And we'll have plenty of other games to cover in Saturday's High School Sports Extra And we hope you join us again next week on the Daily Record High School Football Insider. Thanks for watching.